Welcome to my BatMAME arcade machine project videos. In this one I will be mounting all the hardware, doing the wiring, as well as programming or encoding the circuit board. Alright, next I'm going to mark all the holes for the joystick bases. Do that for each one. For the trackball, I'm going to use the screws that I'm going to mount the trackball with to mark the holes. Kind of put them in there and just make a little indentation. This is the screw, little plastic washer. It's not the original hardware, but it works. Make sure the drill bit that you use is smaller than all of the screws that you're going to use for the various joysticks. The easiest way to align the joysticks is just to use a mirror and a flashlight, kind of like this. I'll show a picture of one that's centered. Mounted all the major hardware components. Here is the view from the top. Next is to figure out placement as well as mount the printed circuit boards. Then after that, I'm going to paint. Here are the primer and the color that I use. Now I'm going to be cutting the base. I need to make some room for my hands so I can get to the wires. Also, I'm going to cut this front part out for the trackball. I haven't showed much of the base, but I will in future videos. This is kind of like Zaxxon. Pretty cool, huh? So right here, it touches just barely. Plus I'm gonna have wires, so I'm just gonna nick it. Here it is with the notches taken out. I also installed my hinges, got everything lined up. Next step will be to install the plastic edging strip. So I'm just going to start right here and just work my way around. Now I'll be installing all the buttons and the four-way joystick that will be wired to the mini pack. This is the initial layout of all the positive wires that I ran following the previous version of BatMAME. I did have to make some adjustments because of course I've added a joystick, but for the most part the wiring was identical. So next I'm going to show how I basically raised and elevated and changed the angle for the console board. I'm basically using these tile spacers, and this is how it looks when it was finally installed. These are the spacers. Now it's time to do the encoding for the buttons and joysticks that you have for your console board. You could think of this as programming the buttons or each micro switch to a corresponding keyboard button. The Ultimark mini pack comes with software. It's actually downloaded from the internet, and it has a designer view, which you see here, and you just throw in all your buttons and joysticks on there. You select which player it is and which button it is. So like player 1, button 1, player 1, joystick up, so on and so forth. You do this for everything you have, and then you save your work, of course, and then you flash the circuit board, or you program the circuit board with this data. You'll probably have to go into the main configuration settings to set up your buttons and switches. To do that, you press tab and then input general, and then you go to player 1 controls, or whichever player you're working on. Then you'll see a list of switches as seen here. You'll just use your arrow keys on your keyboard to go up or down and select the one that you want to change. You press the enter button on the keyboard, and then you press the button or joystick direction on your console board to assign whatever it was encoded to. If you want to clear out the switch assignment, you again scroll to whichever one you want to work on, you press enter, and then you press the escape key, and that will change it in MAME to say none. The escape key is also used to go back to the previous menu, or to close the menu entirely if you're on the very first menu. Thanks for watching my video on making the console for BatMAME. In the next video, I will be working on another 2 consoles actually, but very simple. They each are only going to have 1 joystick and 2 buttons, and they will give my whole playing arcade cabinet a 3rd and 4th player option, as well as an additional 1st player option.